Matt, I can just sing songs while we redo this here.
Play the Billy song.
Play the Billy song. Oh, darn it. Let's see. Let's make sure this is actually live. Are you calling me?
Yeah, I thought you just called me.
No, sorry. I accidentally did. There we go. Wait, let's see. Let's see.
I got something on Facebook that says the video has ended.
I know.
Weird.
Oh, there we go. Well, we're back on here. So the question is, can we keep it going? Yeah. It says that we're live now. Man, Facebook is doing some weird things tonight. I feel really bad. I'm sorry, everybody. I hope we can continue here. Matt, why don't we do some? I'll play some Billy Hinchy stuff.
Sure, let's do it.
Let's do it for Billy. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry for the technical issues. I'm not sure if it's fixed or if it's going to happen again. But if it does, we'll try and connect one more time. And if not, we may just have to postpone. But it's all the solar storms. That's what I was thinking. I was worried about that.
Well, yeah, I think there's something going on.
Oh, wait, seriously?
Well, I just mean storms in general, but I don't know what that would have to do with.
Oh, yeah. I mean, maybe.
Facebook,
I don't know.
Yeah, because it seems like it's on that end. It doesn't seem like it's our end. So, Rest in peace, Billy.
Rest in peace, Billy.
Everybody, thanks for staying with us.
All right, I've got audio still, right? I think we're good. It's frozen. Man, Matt, we might have to cancel. I don't know what's going on. I've got audio. Claire says it's frozen. Mine is showing that it's on. Let me see.
I can see us on Twitch. Okay, but
I hear and see you guys. Okay, it says it's good for me. All right. Hey, everybody, let us know if it's good for you. And if it's not, let us know. You are on. Okay, I hear and see you guys.
Good.
Let us know.
Michael said no audio, but I hope.
Twitch is working. YouTube went out again. Yeah, there's something going on. I'm not really sure. That doesn't really make any sense. All right, it's aliens. Maybe it is aliens. It's good. Thumbs up. Think it's
good. We're talking about Manson tonight. I don't
know. You're going to interview The Rock, but I think he's lying. We're not going to interview The Rock tonight. That would be awesome. No, okay, we're okay right now. Well, let's just hang tight here on Facebook. YouTube seems perfectly fine on my end. Okay.
And Twitch is too. I don't know if you all go to Twitch, but that's up and running too.
Yeah, Don said Charlie is haunting it, maybe. That's kind of creepy, isn't it?
I know.
Let's get some Billy Hinchy positive vibes in here. Hey, hello, my friends. It's good to see you again. You know it's been a few years since I went away. Now I'm happy to say I'm doing okay myself. I can dig what's happening. Hey, Jeff. And every day there is something new. And hey, good things are coming my way. Tell me how you've been. There's so much you gotta tell me. Let's talk about them good old days. We laugh and say, hey, hey, man, you're okay. Let's take it nice and easy now. It's back in the groove. Stick around for a little while and hey, good things are coming my way. Good things come my way. Rest in peace, Billy.
Thank you, Desiree, for these cool mugs. The
Yeah!
official mug of Beach
The
Boys talk.
official mug of Beach Boys talk right here. Desiree made us these really cool mugs that we are honored to have. Once again, welcome back, everybody. I'm sorry we're having some technical issues, and we're going to blame it on the storms that are passing through the country right now, which I didn't know about until 30 seconds ago. But hopefully we're back on for a while. We've got some cool stuff tonight. We're going to be talking, with author
Rock and roll.
Jim Birkenstadt on the Rock and Roll Detective. That's right. We're going to be talking with him. Matt, where were we? Okay, so we just got done talking Many Moods, and your Many Moods, I believe, were just kind of, hey, let's just focus on the music. But that's kind of what our show's about too, right?
Yeah, and I wanted to just reiterate that reading about the history of the Beach Boys is important, like you said, as far as giving us perspective into their lives and how they wrote their music and what they did. But I just the bickering that happens between who's the best and who needed whom and all this stuff. I'm just saying, whatever Beach Boy you like the best, it doesn't bother me. We're all here. We're all Beach Boy fans. They're all part of the band. Naturally bands have a leader, or bands have a songwriter, a primary songwriter. It's just the nature of it. It's just the way it is. Everybody plays a role. So
yeah, for sure.
I guess more what I was saying was we just always want to keep on our platform here to be neutral that way and just keep it positive and keep it music oriented,
Yeah.
So,
Sandy says, didn't Charlie freeze the clock in the courtroom or something like that? Man, this is creepy. I don't like this.
I know.
We shouldn't have done this. This was a mistake. We should have refused. This was not a good idea. Yeah, Claire says, ew, don't, Sandy. Yeah, I know. Sandy, stop it. You're freaking us out here. Yeah, Bill says, pretty sophisticated songwriting on Billy's part. Yeah, it's an awesome song. Whitney says, the storms in Charlie. Stop it. Desiree says we have a big storm here in Illinois, so okay. Sean O'Grady says I blame Putin. Heard he's not a Beach Boys fan. I wonder. Yeah, probably not. Probably
that's
not.
his problem.
Yeah, maybe that's his issue. His issue there. So, all right, Matt. Well, I don't want to switch. I don't want to switch overlays. Let's just keep the way things are right now.
Okay. But we don't have to call it that. But I just wanted to, if you allow me, I just wanted to talk about. I had the great honor and privilege of going to a concert this weekend. I did post some pictures on Facebook, and I first wanted to give a shout out to somebody I would not have met unless it was for the show. Turns out we live in the same town and we have a lot in common music wise. That's my friend John Butler.
Yay, John.
Who I think was with us tonight. So I wanted to first say thank you to John for even bringing this concert to my attention. And I will say I went and saw these guys right here.
Oh, dude, that's a cool cover.
Yeah, it's really cool, right? It's like the Beach Boys Shut Down Volume 2. Yeah.
That is a cool. What is that? What is that a picture? I mean, is that like their
it just says Sail On, the Beach Boys
just a concert
tribute.
Poster?
Yeah, a concert poster.
Oh, that is cool.
And here's the thing. I want to caveat this by saying that I'm not necessarily super excited about tribute bands when you have, Brian's band out there and Mike's, and you get that authentic sound. But I will tell you, I haven't seen any other tribute Beach Boy band, but these guys are the real deal. And I'm not just saying that because I saw them. The way it started was they came out and they had some interviews with the Beach Boys talking about how they got together, why they wanted to create their music. And then they kind of start with Surfing USA. And then they just play a set of all the early songs.
Cool.
And then, and if you have your eyes closed and you're just listening, they play every song word for word. Every guitar solo is just like it was on the record. They don't take liberties that way, changing stuff. They're really there to respect the music.
Cool.
Vocals are top notch, and there's only 5 of them. So they're replicating this music live with just the 5 of them. They have a bass guitar, a lead guitar, and then one guy plays a rhythm guitar and one plays a keyboard and then a drummer. And it was really good. And then in the middle of the show, they have more interviews with the Beach Boys. And then they started with When I Grew Up to Be a Man, and they went through Pet Sounds era, and they had a great encore. And it was really nice because after the show, I was able to meet them and talk with them. Very nice guys. And I told them I just appreciated their music. I was in the front row and I had on a Beach Boy shirt, and they kind of noticed me because when I hear that music, I get, I like to bop a little bit, if that's a word. I don't know. So
bop.
Anyway,
Noah.
Yeah, Noah. Yeah. Anyway, what I really want to say is just to all of you out there, they play 80 shows a year. if they come to your neck of the woods, definitely go see them. It's definitely worth, excuse me, the money. It was a really nice show. And I wanted to say on our show to the group Sail On, thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. I hope to catch you guys again. It was great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw
Has anybody in the chat seen Sail On?
Anybody seen Sail On or any other
tribute? No. Like I said, tribute groups are not normally my favorite thing, but
Noah says Sail On bops.
That's right. They do.
Oh man, that's funny. In the Vein of the Beach Boys is coming to Supper Club near me on June 6th. Is that what it's called? In the Vein of the Beach Boys? Interesting.
Yeah, I've never heard of them.
Birthday. Oh, your birthday. Anyone know about this cover band? Anybody know about the group called In the Vein of the Beach Boys? That's interesting. Whitney says Good Vibrations tribute band. I've never heard of them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder how many legit Beach Boy cover band. It's such a unique, interesting thing because you got to get a very specific type of kind of musician to get together and be able to do that.
Well, one of the things I found out is that Sail On, when they do their tribute show, it's the same set. And that was something different for me because it's just a tribute. So for instance, there's a clip of them on YouTube from Live from Daryl's House, that guy from Hall & Oates.
Oh yeah. Love that.
They played the exact same show they did that I saw. And I wanted to point out one more thing. This guy right here that's in the front of the car, this is Wyatt.
Yeah.
He's also has a podcast called Sail On, which is really cool. And if you've all heard that before, that's him. And so anyway, I really enjoyed it. It was nice to go back to a concert and hear some live music. And again, to see other Beach Boys fans. And these were people who just came to see a tribute band. And they played all the hits. The deepest song they probably played was Sail On Sailor, which again, for us is not deep, but for your casual fan, it's a little deeper song, but again, did a lot of justice. Very good. They ended the night with fun. It was awesome.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah. I loved it.
Any surprise songs in their set list, or is it all kind of greatest hits type stuff?
Well, okay. The one surprise was they played Do It Again, and Do It Again sounded great, but then they went right into Get You Back. So everything was pretty much on a timeline from the early 60s on, but then they broke into Get You Back. And I thought that was cool to hear that live.
Oh, that's a pretty cool segue. I like that.
It was cool. It works,
That totally works.
Yeah. Same drum beat and style of song. So again, if you can catch Sail On, check their website. Yep.
Wyatt, if you guys are listening out there, I have another suggestion. Maybe like dovetail Get You Back into Match Point of Our Love. It's been a long, long while. Because that's the same beat too.
I didn't hear anything from MIU on that show, unfortunately, but I'm not quibbling.
Were you shocked to not hear anything from MIU on their set list?
I was expecting them to rock out with She's Got Rhythm, but it just didn't happen. But I'm not holding it against them. And again, I did want to thank John again. John was very kind to me and reached out to me, and I appreciate it, John. I hope we could do it again sometime, my friend. So thank you.
Yeah.
Bootleg Beach Boys, Noah. Yeah, I've heard of them. I've seen them on YouTube. A lot of bands like that. But again, these guys were great. And I don't know how they do it to get that sound. But yeah, Wyatt was nice. I talked to him a little bit after the show, and hopefully he'll come on our show sometime too and talk about their band. That'd be great.
Yeah, I would love to. I know we've talked with Wyatt a couple times about coming on. So it'd be great to have him for sure. Talking through the band. Matt, we've got some time to kill before Arthur comes on. So do you want to do some songs maybe? What do you want to do?
Yeah, why don't we take some requests before our interview?
Yeah, we had kind of I know most of you here understand this, but our stream cut off like halfway through for some reason, and so we're kind of scrambling here. We kind of had some, and I don't want to switch the overlay because I don't want to mess anything else up. So we're just going to stay right here.
Maybe since we missed I noticed there were some comments in the chat about the Beach Boys history and all that. Maybe we could go back. I don't know if we can go back, but maybe we could get you all to share those. Maybe share your thoughts again about, before we do the music, maybe share your thoughts about Beach Boys history and learning about them and just things like that. What we kind of talked about. I don't know, just to get a conversation going, Yeah.
And I had said this before, and the problem is I don't know what was was heard last time. Not that I'm saying anything too crazy, but when I after reading this, I have a better appreciation for Dennis's musical output after this time because of his kind of fragile mental state after that, is going through such a traumatic experience. I mean, how do you come back from that? And I don't know that he ever did 100%. So listening to Dennis's stuff after that, I think is going to be a little different for me. But if there's something, did you guys ever learn anything about the Beach Boys, or are there songs that sound different after learning something historical about them? You can feel free to share that. If you want to hear a song, we can definitely play it. We can take some requests. That'd be
another
cool.
piece of news that I was going to talk about tonight that I didn't get a chance to because unforeseen circumstances was David Leaf. This kind of got me onto my many moods. But David Leaf's book, The California Myth, Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys. It's something, I'm not doing the title justice, but the original one came out in the late 70s. Then there was a reissue in the 80s with the pink cover. Yeah. Well, now he's coming out with another reissue of it, and he's said on Facebook that it's double the size of the original book. Really? So it fills in everything from when it stopped around 1985 until the present. And I can't wait to get my hands on that book and read it. I think there's a lot of history to be there. It'll cover, Carl's death, and then, the Beach Boys going on after Carl, Brian's comeback, the 50th anniversary reunion and all that. So I think there's going to be a lot of good stuff in there. I can't wait to get it. So I only saw it available on Amazon UK right now, but I'm hoping it comes out. But that's something all you out there to take a look for if you haven't seen that. Because David Leaf, we've had him on the show before. That book is great, and hopefully, I think he's going to come on again eventually to talk about his new book too. So we're excited about that. But that's another piece of news I wanted to mention. I can't wait to get that book.
Did you read? Is he adding? Because I think the original book stops at maybe the late 70s, right?
Yeah, and then the second edition I think is 80, right after Dennis' death, I think.
Okay, so is he adding on to the rest of the book, or is he supplementing anything that had already been written? Do you know?
I believe it's both things. I believe he's supplementing, but also adding as well.
Interesting.
To history since then, because again, there's a lot of, when we talk about history and reading it and everything, there's a lot of history of the Beach Boys that has not been covered since that time, and the history of the Beach Boys after Carl's death is an interesting one. That's when the factions kind of came and all that. And so
it gets a little more political, which may be exciting to some people. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know, but I hope I know that David is very fond of Brian Wilson, and I hope there's a lot of stuff about Brian's comeback, his Imagination album, and then his comeback on the tour. Brian Wilson presents Smile, all those things. I'm really hoping that there's a lot of stuff on that. That would be cool to see.
Yeah, David's perspective on all that is so interesting because he was helping Brian. Well, I mean, David was the reason why we got the Smile stuff on the box set to begin with, on the 30 years of, what was that? 30 years of Good Vibrations. What was that box set called? The Good Vibrations box set. Yeah. So I'd love to hear him talk about those conversations, and he did a little bit on our show when he was on last year, but I'm hoping, maybe in the book he'll go in depth about that. Well, we'll have to have him back on it to talk through kind of maybe what we can expect in the book. But it looks like from our friends, Taylor says the new book will be out in the fall, so that's pretty cool. Matthew says saw it that it comes out in England in the summer and U.S. in October. Okay, cool.
Okay, good. I didn't know that. Thank you. See, that's why we're here.
Yeah. Hey, my birthday is October 3rd, so if anybody wants to buy me a birthday gift, that'd be really great. I'm just kidding.
But that's exciting news for Beach Boys fans, and as well as Brian's going to have a June tour throughout the country. Mike Love's still doing his thing. And like I said, try to catch Greg. I think Sail On's going to be in Ohio, but I'm not sure if it's near you. You'll have to check,
oh man, hey, as long as it's not on a weekend day, I'm there. That'd be really fun.
You should go. They're good stuff.
Hey, Weird Al is coming to Ohio too, and I might try and get VIP tickets for Weird Al. Weird Al is one of the greatest entertainers of all time. So awesome. I love Weird Al. Sandy says, I used to be a walking Beach Boys encyclopedia. I have had about 15 had 15 books, many articles, 2 husbands, 5 kids, 11 grandkids later. Mind is not as sharp. Sandy, I don't know about that. You had some nice input, so I wouldn't count yourself out, but that's why we love having you guys on the show. Y'all know more than we do. See the wave, Matt. A hard copy will eventually be released of the updated Leaf book. Oh, do you know, Matt? Do you know if it's coming out in a hard copy? I think that was a question.
I do not know.
Come on,
I don't
Matt.
know that.
You're the insider here.
Well, I just know it's coming out.
I thought you talked with David Leaf pretty regularly.
No, I don't.
That's what you tell everybody.
I don't tell anybody that. What are you talking about?
I'm just kidding. That's
if
funny.
only.
Patricia says, not really history related, but tonight I am missing a live concert where I live by Bonnie Raitt and her group, including Ricky Fattar. Oh, awesome.
Wow.
The ticket cost was prohibitive at $143 for the cheapest ticket. What? What songs did Bonnie Raitt do? What's a Bonnie Raitt song?
Let's give him something to talk about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's probably the only one I know. Oh, there's another.
Let's give him something to talk about. Let's give him something to talk about. I want to know. What else did Bonnie Raitt do?
Then she sings that, I can't make you love me.
Oh,
yeah. I can't sing this, yeah.
I can't make you love me. Is that song? That's funny.
Yeah, but I don't know the whole thing. I'm not a Bonnie Raitt aficionado.
Yeah,
this
me
isn't
neither.
Bonnie Raitt talk.
Talk about an artist I don't really know. Let's see, Patricia. Patricia, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're missing the show. That sounds like it'd be a lot of fun to go see Ricky and Bonnie Raitt, but $143 for a cheap seat, man. That's
Frankie Valli is coming near me, and I wanted to go see him, and the nosebleeds like $95. I'm like, I can't,
Yeah, but I don't know. Frankie Valli is one of those ones you got to
maybe just to say I saw him, but.
Monza says, happy early birthday, Greg. No, my birthday's not until, well, I guess it's very early. Well, we love you, Monza. You are the best. Appreciate you guys joining us. Diane Bennett says October 26th. We got a lot of October. Hey, October birthdays. We need to have a big October birthday party, Matt. That'd be kind of fun. Do we have any birthdays? Matt, that's what we should do on the show. Every Tuesday, we should ask if there's any birthdays that week or anything.
Birthdays, yep.
Anybody have a birthday this week? Matt, we need to say it's Macrina, right?
Macrina. Yep.
No, we got to say it right. Macrina. I think it's Macrina. Macrina got front row center for Brian Wilson Pittsburgh concert this summer. Woo! Nice.
Wow.
That's gonna be fun.
There you go. I think you're going to love that. So
yeah, James, you did not miss the interview. We've had some technical difficulties here tonight, but we are back. And our guest, author Jim Birkenstadt, author of Mysteries in Music, Unsolved, or Case Closed, the rock and roll detective will be joining us here in about 15 minutes. So we're just talking through, having some fun here. Don says, Greg, I know you don't care, but Brian was wearing a gray shirt. Oh, today? I think Don's being hilarious. Sorry. Thank you, Don. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I get it now. Oh, Sue's here. Hey, Sue Dwyer's in the house. Thanks for being here.
Hey, let's take a second. Sue, where have you been? Sue, were you here last week? Sue, I feel like Sue hasn't been on in a while. Sue, what's going on? Tell us what's new. We missed you. Sue is an honored guest, everybody, all the way from Australia.
Yeah.
The land
down
under.
So happy to have you.
Sue, we love you. Thank you for being here. We missed you. Janice, hey, Janice. Hello to my Beach Boy Talk friends. Hello, Janice. Hope you're doing well. Whitney, I would love to see Frankie Valli. Me too. I've never seen him, and he's right behind the Beach Boys for me in terms of favorite artists.
Oh, hey, Bert. Bert's birthday's April 17th. That's coming up.
We're off next week, Bert. So why don't we sing happy birthday to Bert? Ready?
Let's do it. All right, Bert. For you. Happy birthday, man.
Matt, you sing happy birthday. What's a good range for you?
That where you had it was good.
Right here? Go ahead.
Happy birthday to you.
Bert.
Happy birthday to you.
Bert.
Happy birthday, dear Bert. Happy birthday to you. And many more.
And many more.
All right, Bert.
Happy birthday, Bert. We love you, Bert. Thanks for being here. Frank, birthday was last Thursday. Oh, we got to do it for Frank.
Your turn this time.
Happy birthday to you, Frank. Happy birthday to you, Frank. Happy birthday, dear Franklin. Happy birthday to you, and many more.
You ever hear the Beach Boys? It was like a bonus cut, and they sing Happy Birthday, and they go with the jazzy harmony. They say "Dear Freshman."
Yeah, it's really
they go,
cool.
Dear freshman, dear freshman.
Yeah, Brian's got a nice
it's
arrangement.
really,
Really
really
cool.
awesome. If you haven't heard that one, check it
Stacy
out.
says,
It's really
finally
cool.
Matt sang. Oh, more to come on that, Stacy. Just you wait.
After
Matt,
you heard that, I think that was enough. I think
Matt
you
has
realized.
Matt has prepared an entire set tonight.
No, I have not.
MIU.
Oh man. We may have to do that to make up for our technical difficulties tonight, but we'll see.
Michael Perry says, please play From Here to Back Again. I love that song. We should totally do that one.
Oh, Jeff Larson said, sing something from Adult Child. Ooh, that life is worth the living. Remember that one?
Yeah. What else is on Adult Child?
Well, the original Tomboy's on there. What else is on there? Everybody Wants to Live on Broadway. There's a lot of stuff on there that I liked. And that MIU came out instead of that album. So I'm a little bit mixed feelings because I love MIU, but I like a lot of that Brian Wilson music on there too, on Adult Child.
Janice says, Matt, we need to hear you sing more often, please. See, Matt, they are screaming for you to sing. Wow.
Yeah, right.
Look at Matt. Wow. What a beautiful voice. Do all the coffees sing so great? No, our sisters are not great singers, but all the boys in the family, we get
the music from our mother and our father. They're good.
Wow. Newsflash. We got everything from our parents.
Oh,
okay.
It's over now. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a great Carl vocal, Jeff, on that song. It's over now.
Oh.
Technical difficulty. Matt was singing. Yeah, that's right. Don.
Yeah. Matt, sing a song. Claire, I agree with you. Matt, what do you want to sing? Come on, just pick a song and sing it. Come on. Dude, we've got 10 minutes before our guest comes on. We need to kill time. I think it'd be a perfect time for you to sing. What do you want to sing?
I don't know. They don't want to hear me sing.
You
sing.
Here's what you should do. Matt, you should put a Beach Boys song on that, what could you sing? Just sing something. What do you want to sing? Hi, Todd. How's it going? Eric Andover. Hey, Eric. How's it going? Monza says, hey, do you guys like Brian's first solo album from 1988? No,
yes,
I
do.
And Matt loves it. I hate it, and Matt loves it. It might be the worst album any Beach Boy ever put out. Sorry.
Oh man, I think
I hate
the production on that album is sus, as the kids say. It's sus, but I do think that Melt
I hate
Away,
when people say that because sus in music is like suspension. So every time I hear that, I'm like, it doesn't make any sense when you say.
I don't even know what it means. I told somebody to keep it 100 today, and I don't know what I'm talking about. So,
oh
but anyway,
no.
So the point is,
wow.
The song on that, my favorite song on that album. There's two of them. There's one called "Let It Shine," which Brian Wilson wrote with Jeff Lynne of ELO, and then there's another one called "Melt Away," which is a typical great Brian Wilson ballad. It sounds like the Pet Sounds era. So Greg I don't think agrees with me on that, but I love that one.
No, Matt, I can't.
That's right, Jeff Larson, the cigarette butt one. Yeah, that's Everybody Wants to Live. Yeah.
Matt, what was I gonna say? Oh, somebody wants you to sing. Where was it? Oh, sing "Hey Little Tomboy." Will you do that?
Noah said
Come
Matt
on,
killed Pitter Patter back on season 1. Do you remember that?
Matt, did you sing Pitter Patter?
I did. I guess. Yeah, I did a long time ago.
Let's see if we can. Oh, wait.
I don't know the words to that song.
Okay, well, just you remember. Oh, what bull? I bet you do. How does it start?
All right. Do they really want to hear one?
Yeah, let's just go. What?
No. How about we do this then?
Do Pitter Patter.
If you're gonna twist my arm, let's do. Well, you guys are twisting my arm. You're making it weird, and we have to.
No one's making it weird. Time. If you don't want to sing, you don't have to. But Claire
how about
says
we do?
If you sing, we'll stop asking.
All right. Well, that's what I want. So how about we do? How about in honor of "Love You"? I could sing "The Night Was So Young."
That's a good. What key? The night was so young.
That's good. Should I just sing it?
Can I do Carl's part? I got a car.
I can't hear you. That's
far.
One thing.
Don't listen to me.
Don't always understand is that we can't sync it up.
We can't.
There's
right.
a delay.
There's latency. Okay, let's do.
You want to sing the Carl part? I'll just listen to you in my head.
Okay. Yeah. Just.
All right.
This is.
All right. 1, 2, ready, go. The night was so young and everything still. The moon shining bright on my windowsill. Think of her lips, it chills me inside. And then I think, why does she have to hide? Is somebody gonna tell me why she has to hide?
Sorry.
She won't even try to make this love go where it should. The sky's turning gray, there's clouds overhead. I'm still not asleep in my bed. I think of her eyes and it makes me sigh. I think of her voice and it makes me cry. Is somebody gonna tell me why she has to lie? She'd be so right to hold me tonight. Love was made for her and I. It's 3 o'clock. I go to my sink. I pour some milk and I start to think, is she asleep or is she awake? And does she think of the love we could make?
Spicy.
Wake up, call me, baby, call me. Tell me what's on your mind. I've got a car and you're not too far. Please let me come over to you. That's it. All right, in honor of Love You. There we go.
Matt, that was nice. That was lovely. I thought that was nice. Yeah. Claps. How about some claps in the chat for Matt? I thought you did a nice job. And that's hard because once again, Matt has to take his earphones out and can only sing it by himself while I accompany him because once again, we're not exactly lined up. Matt, that was great. I thought that was awesome. Matt, do you like the Love You album?
I do. Of course I like other songs more than others, but that one, The Night Was So Young, and I'll Bet He's Nice. I'll Bet He's Nice is really good. I like it overall. You know, the same thing. People say things about the production, but it's quirky. I think in this particular case, when we talk about history, it's important to know the history before you listen to Love You. If you just give it to somebody and say, listen to it, they're going to be like, what the heck? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
But when you understand that Brian was kind of out of commission for a while, came back and they did 15 big ones. And that was kind of leading into Brian getting full control back in the studio and writing again. When you know it from there, to me, it makes it different. They're very personal songs for Brian, you know? And so that's part of the reason I like it musically and all that, you know, say what you want about it, but that's why I like it, you know?
Yeah. I like Mona. Clean Man says Mona is great. I really like Airplane is a really cool tune. I like Roller Skating Child too. I don't know why.
Well, that bops. I gotta stop saying bops now. Noah,
you said it so naturally. Like that's part of your like vernacular now.
I like I like Airplane a lot, and I think Mike Love's vocal in Airplane's great.
Over the city in an airplane, I can see everything. Mike's vocal on that is really good, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
And nice chords. You liked a song on there. You mentioned one where you liked I don't remember if you said you liked the lyrics and not the music or vice versa, but you mentioned Solar System. That's Love You.
Love the lyrics. Not a huge fan of Solar System. I don't like the music. It's okay. It's cool for what it is. By the way,
another one I really like on there, again, I don't want to use I almost said that stupid word again, but it rocks.
No, I like bops. Say bops. It's better.
It bops in its own way is Honking Down the Highway. Good Al Jardine vocal. Yeah. You know, Brian played the drums on that too. He played like all the instruments on that song.
Yeah.
So did the background vocals. So
honking down the gosh darn highway.
What about y'all in the chat? What's your thoughts about Love You? If you rate it from 1 to 10.
Yeah, gotten some honking down. Bert says there's a great live version of Roller Skating Child on YouTube. Yeah, I like when they do the Love You stuff live. It actually sounds really
Roller
cool.
Skating Child, this sounds really cool live. Dennis plays it faster, and it's like a punk version, you know.
Sue says I love Airplane. Yeah, Airplane's a good one.
I think my least favorite on the album would be Love Is a Woman. That song just doesn't do anything for me. It's all right. It's not offensive.
Love is a woman, so true. this part. With love and if you smile. That part's cool. Honking Down the Highway from McKenna. She likes that song.
The opening track is good. Let Us Go On This Way.
Oh, I do like that. All day long I gotta watch you say. Carl's vocal.
And then Mike has this really weird lyric. It seems we have extrasensory perception. It's like, who put that in a song? Dimension.
God, please let us go on this way, yeah.
Yeah.
School isn't my fondest desire.
But I've talked about this when we did our Love You show. Brian Wilson almost does a suite on the second side. It starts with I think it's The Night Was So Young first, but then there's I'll Bet He's Nice.
Yeah.
And then there's I Want to Pick You Up, and then there's Love Is a Woman, and all these ballads all go together. And I really think those are a neat set of songs. And I think that's kind of like, it's not the same musically like today, the second side, but it's a similar idea. It's kind of where Brian's head was as far as, ballads and stuff at that time. And they're a little bit more mature.
I'm with Karen. I actually like Love Is a Woman. Never mind. I do like that one. That's a good one. You don't
I didn't say I didn't like it.
You don't like that one.
I said it's my least favorite on the album, I think. But I said it's not offensive to me. It's just not my favorite.
Yeah.
Of course, Love You has Claire's favorite song of all time, Ding Dang. We haven't done that in a while, Greg. Why don't you hit
James
that up?
Watson says Ding Dang. I'll play some.
Clean Man. I like Good Time as well. My only thing about Good Time is that was recorded in the Field Flows era. It's not really
there's some Ding Dang. Our whole intro is based off of Ding Dang, thanks to Les and Claire. Ding Dang, woo! Ding dong. I hate that song. And Claire and Les love that song, but
again, when you know the story of that, where he was with who was with the guy from the Byrds, and like Brian's like, hey, I got this riff to play on the piano, and he says that like Brian started playing it, and then he's like, I'm going to bed, man. And then he woke up in the morning, and Brian was still sitting there playing Ding Dang. That's kind of a funny. So when you listen to it that way, it's kind of funny. It's like never got anything else out of it except that, yeah, exactly. So
really strange. Yeah, really strange.
Anyway, the anniversary of that album was yesterday, so everybody after the show should, in honor of that album, take it out and give it a listen again. I always like re-listen to albums after we talk about them a little bit. It's fun to listen to them.
Yeah, it is fun. Yeah, and Matt, you kind of mentioned it. Understanding the history of that record and like Brian's like what he was going through at the time, what the band was going through at the time, makes the listening experience that more immersive, that more enriching, which kind of leads us to our author today, who should be joining us here in just a minute.
Yep.
And yeah, the Charles Manson stuff is tough to talk about. I think there are a lot of people that are with us. They're here. They lived through it. That had a personal. We've had guests on the show that have said, "Hey, we'd love to come on the show. I don't want to talk about this time period." Which is totally understandable because there was a lot of hurt. A lot of terrible things that people witnessed, had to go through. But I like we kind of mentioned at the beginning of the show, I think the history and kind of hearing and reading about Dennis and reading about this whole thing with Charles Manson has helped me appreciate Dennis that much more, because knowing what he went through, all these terrible things and this guilt that he had, which is none of this was his fault. Like nothing he did was his fault. Fred Vail was someone who mentioned that Dennis has just a huge heart, and I don't think you can fault anybody for that, but you know what, Matt, we're probably not the ones to talk about this. Instead, let's get our author on and let's see if Jim joins us here.
Oh, he's here. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say the other neat thing I appreciate about the book, and we could talk to Jim about that in a minute, was that it really showed though the heart Dennis had, because it all started from him just giving, and wanting to give and wanting to make people happy. Unfortunately, he gave it to people that took advantage of him in a very bad way. But again, I think that shows Dennis's humanity as well. So
yeah, and it's too bad too that Dennis gets lumped in with all this, because once again, like you said, just had a big heart. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us this evening, it is an absolute honor to have you on. How about some claps, some waves, some hellos in the chat for our honored guest tonight, the rock and roll detective, author, historian, Jim Birkenstadt. Jim, thank you for joining us. How are you this evening?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks for having me on, Greg and Matt. I'm really happy to be on your show, and I've really enjoyed watching it as well.
Oh, thanks. Well, we've
Thank
had
you.
some technical issues tonight. We're blaming it on the storms everywhere, but we're good now. I think we're all set, and we're excited to have you on. But Jim, before we get started, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Okay, we didn't talk about these questions beforehand, but I feel like we need to ask, and it makes for good content if we catch you on the spot. You ready? You ready for these hard hitting questions?
I hope so.
All right. How about your favorite Beach Boys song? Do you have a favorite Beach Boys song?
I would have to say, hands down, it's Good Vibrations.
Cool.
I still remember the first time I ever heard it. I was at some sort of summer camp that, your parents send you away to. And I was laying in bed and, they tell you to go to bed at a certain time. And I had a little transistor radio. I was in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just starting to fall off to sleep while listening. And the song came on and I'm like, oh, this is great. And as I was falling off to sleep, there's that little break in the song where they do the ahs and then there's just everything stops.
Yeah.
Before they come in.
Yeah.
I was half in a sleep dreaming that I had died and gone to heaven. And then all of a sudden the song burst back on. I'm like, oh, good, I'm still here. And
oh, how cool is
awesome.
that?
It's funny how the mind works when you're some little kid,
I totally know what you're talking about because I've always that happens with the alarm sometimes, right? The alarm is something in your dream or something. Yeah.
Right.
We need to how do we make that happen? Matt, tonight when we go to sleep, we should turn on Good Vibe. I want to have that experience. Can you
It
imagine?
was so cool. And it was it was just so blissful listening to the Beach Boys and then going, well, I guess it isn't so bad. I'm going to heaven and then there's nothing. And then all of a sudden the song bursts back on. So it was a great, great moment for me. And it, I think, solidified that song as one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah. Oh, what a great answer. Thanks for
One of the best answers I've ever heard.
That's an awesome answer. I love that. Yeah. So, we're being that this is a Beach Boys really, by the way, lots of highs and hellos in our chat for you. We're so happy to have you on and honored. I think, this being a Beach Boy talk show, we obviously like to talk about the section of your book that talks about the Beach Boys, specifically Dennis Wilson and Charles Manson, all that kind of stuff. But before we get into that, I was hoping, we can read your bio, but I thought it might be kind of cool. Can you kind of take us through kind of the Cliff's Notes version? How did you get to become the rock and roll detective? How did you kind of get into this genre of writing?
I grew up in the 60s, so I'm about 107 years old at this point. And
look good. By the way.
AM radio was a great place to learn about music. And in fact, that's something I've talked to Butch Vig a lot, who wrote the foreword, and many people know he's produced Nirvana and the Foo Fighters and has his own band. We both just grew up on this parallel track of loving music, being passionate about it. And I was never really a committed musician at any instrument, just would play around. But I wanted to study music. I was the guy, while all the other, boys in the neighborhood were looking at the back of baseball cards, how many hits somebody had. I was looking on the back of album covers. I wanted to know who produced this, who was the engineer, who sings lead, if they, even gave you that much information back then on this song, who wrote it, that kind of stuff. So that carried on. I became a trial lawyer. And even though I was a trial lawyer and having a young family growing up and all, that we have, and now they're older, but, I still had my eye on music and my passion for it. And first, I was involved in studying the bootlegs of the Beatles. The Beatles were sort of my favorite band right off the bat. Then came the Beach Boys and a couple others down the road. But that was really my area of expertise. I got into the bootlegs, trying to learn more about the creative process, which is, you were mentioning the Good Vibrations box set. That is the most amazing thing for me to listen to.
Yeah.
And just and getting to know some of the artists over the years. So I just decided, well, I should write about the stuff that I have learned about. And so
Yeah.
I then decided, well, I should try to get involved in uncovering lost history of music and mysteries that have been hidden in popular music. Just as a little background, I was hired by George Harrison in 1998 as his historian and worked on projects for him until he died a couple of years later. But before he passed away, he told the Apple company, the Beatles company, about me, and then they hired me for a number of projects. And so I've worked on Harrison box sets, movies. I was the historical consultant to Martin Scorsese on the film George Harrison, Living in the Material World. I worked on the Get Back documentary that many people have seen recently on Discovery. Worked on the Traveling Wilburys box set, the Beatles, several Beatle videos and films and things. And so, it's just been a really enjoyable thing. And in between doing those sorts of consulting projects, I've been a writer. So first book was called Black Market Beatles, about their lost recordings. 1998, I wrote a book called Nevermind Nirvana, about the making of Nevermind's album. And of course, having Butch Vig as a friend made it very easy to have access to the people and the documents, all of his production sheets, etc. The book before this one was called The Beatle Who Vanished. It's about Jimmy Nicol, who stood in for Ringo Starr for a couple weeks on their 1964 tour.
Wow.
That took 6 years to research because there was only ever one sentence about him in history. And so I wanted to know, what was it like before the Beatles? How did you get in position to be asked the day before their first ever world tour to be the sub-in drummer? What was it like then to be an everyday guy who goes from no one even notices you on the street to women screaming and pulling your hair and, all that on Beatlemania? And then what do you do after you've had your 10 minutes of fame and you're only 25 years old? And it apparently is a pretty compelling book because Roy Orbison's son, Alex Orbison, optioned the rights. And so it's now being made into a feature film.
Wow.
So that's just kind of an overview. I've been an expert on the Reels channel for different documentaries and things like that.
Wow.
It's a passion, just like you guys are passionate. And, you do whatever you do that's your passion, you usually do it better than something you don't like doing.
Amen.
That's right.
Amen. Yeah. Yep. It's why I try not to play Brian Wilson's 88 solo album very often, because I am not passionate about that. No, we're just messing around. Matt?
Yeah, and just again for our viewers, we're talking with Jim Birkenstadt, who wrote this awesome book, Mysteries in the Music. Jim, for the viewers that may have not had a chance to read your book yet, can you kind of give a little overview of what it covers and maybe why you chose those specific mysteries to talk about?
That was going to be my
right.
question,
Absolutely. Yeah. So Mysteries in the Music, Case Closed, is something where I wanted to examine the various secrets, myths, legends, hoaxes, and conspiracies that really are such an intriguing part of rock and roll and its history. And, I basically used my old trial lawyer skills that I learned, where you have to interview people, you have to take depositions, you have to cross-examine people in a courtroom, and you have to determine who's telling the truth. Or you need to at least convince the jury that your client is telling the truth. So you end up looking for documents that aren't easily available. You end up becoming very good at interviewing people and getting the information that you need. And so I put those tools to work. As to the chapters, so I travel back to the 1950s to uncover who really discovered Elvis Presley. A lot of people believe that Sam Phillips is the sole person that deserves all the credit, but I actually found 3 other people and was able to prove, I thought definitively, that they also deserve equal credit.
Yeah.
for discovering Elvis Presley. I also do a story that was popular in the late 1960s when Rolling Stone did a record review about a group called the Masked Marauders.
Yeah.
And the review, of course, for people who aren't aware, was about the Bob Dylan, the Rolling Stones, and the Beatles all coming together to create the ultimate supergroup album. So I picked these different stories. One reason I picked them, were the ones I picked, was I wanted to cover different decades of popular music. So Elvis is from the 50s, the Masked Marauders are from the 60s. The FBI tracking down whether or not Louie Louie was obscene and following the band around and cornering them in a hotel room. You know, that was from the 60s, of course. The Traveling Wilburys, a whole deep dive into their mythology. That's from the 80s. I even went back to the 1920s to discover a black sharecropper who didn't want to be a farmer and didn't want to be a sharecropper. He wanted to be a blues musician traveling around the South and the Mississippi Delta, and how he came to use different pseudonyms and the reasons behind that, why he would use different names for different recordings. Because, you know, a lot of people first heard about pseudonyms, maybe it was the Traveling Wilburys, where they were Nelson Wilbury and Otis Wilbury. Maybe it was the Beatles on the cover of Sgt. Pepper calling themselves Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. But this goes back many, many decades, the use of pseudonyms in music for different purposes. I was intrigued in the 70s by something I found online where these so-called experts who I'd actually seen in documentaries going on the record and putting together all these facts to state that the CIA had killed Bob Marley. And so, again, I went into all of these different mysteries in rock and roll with an open mind. And I just wanted to get to the bottom of it. With for example, with the CIA and the Bob Marley, I found out through WikiLeaks, they had all these records that the CIA had on Bob Marley. And I had written off letters to the Obama administration and the Trump administration asking for these records that had been declassified. And they both answered this. It was the same exact letter. We can neither confirm nor deny whether the CIA has any records on Bob Marley, which means we have them and you're not going to get them.
Yeah, right.
That's government speak there.
Yeah.
So luckily WikiLeaks had them. And then I found one of the CIA agents who was posing as a diplomat. At the time, we were actually trying to upset the election there and change the government from socialist to more democratic society. So when you really dig deep and you have the knowledge and the tools to do that, you can really discover some interesting things. So I applied that to these music mystery stories.
Now, when you talk about going back, I'm looking at documents is one thing. Talking to an actual person that's kind of been in and experienced it is another. Did you hit any roadblocks in terms of recall, memory, being that some of these events, you know, we're talking 60 plus years, 50, 60 plus years, right?
Well, there are times where I, in my mind, question somebody's memory. I didn't get to talk to Sam Phillips, but luckily he had made a number of interesting self-serving statements about discovering Elvis. And sometimes what I learned in the courtroom is that sometimes people will embellish and add some additional facts that aren't there, and they may not even be doing it intentionally, but they want to impress the jury with their so-called credibility. But in the case, so I applied that to Sam Phillips as if I were cross-examining him. And one example is his recollection was that Elvis Presley was driving by his studio every day in his truck, which he used because he worked for an electrical company wiring and whatnot. And I think his job was to deliver wires and electrical stuff to the guy that was actually the electrician.
Uh-huh.
And so he says, yeah, it was obvious to me he was going to eventually come in and I would record him. Well, he mentioned when that date was, and then it was very simple for me to impeach his credibility, as we say in a courtroom, basically say he's lying, by going back and finding the dates that Elvis Presley had started work, and they didn't match up at all. In fact, Elvis hadn't started that job at the time that Sam Phillips embellished his story to say he was going back and forth casing my studio at this particular time. So that it's kind of fun to do that. Now, on the other hand, there are some people that have excellent recollection, and one of them is Greg Jacobson, who we'll talk about tonight.
Yeah.
And he was, of course, privy to conversations between Dennis Wilson and Charles Manson, and also had private conversations with each of them during that time. He had relationships with both. And boy, that guy obviously anybody who hung out with a Beach Boy and was friends or unfortunately knew Charles Manson, you're going to remember certain things like that the rest of your life.
Sure, yeah.
But not only that, he's just a really sharp guy. He's got an excellent memory. He's very intelligent and very creative.
Very good. And that's a great segue into, maybe we can start speaking about that, particularly Dennis Wilson and Charles Manson. For our viewers here, what is, because before I read your book, and particularly that story, I knew that there was a connection with Dennis Wilson and Manson, and there was a song on an album that Charles Manson thought they stole or whatever. So maybe you could just give a little background. And I know I want people to read your books if you don't feel comfortable giving it all away, but what's kind of the mystery that you were looking to find between Dennis Wilson and Charles Manson?
Well, it's very interesting because, I had only just sort of heard about it. And then I saw these like headlines. One of them was on ABC News, which said, "Watch Charles Manson discuss Beach Boys song theft." And I'm like, wow, ABC News. And then some of the other headlines I saw when I was just looking for another mystery was, "Beach Boys stole music from Charles Manson." Not even a question mark at the end, just this is what happened. Right. And how a stolen Beach Boys song helped lead to Charles Manson's murderous path. So they stole the song and the Beach Boys are responsible for all the murder. That's when it just got so absurd that I said, I really need to look into this because everything I'd ever heard about Dennis Wilson was that he was a really sweet, generous guy. Of course, he liked to party, who didn't back then? And he had, he was very talented, charismatic person. So what I discovered was that, Manson was claiming that the Beach Boys had stolen this song for their own and kept the royalties. And I wanted to see if there was anyone yet still alive who could at least fill in some of the facts. Because as a lawyer, before you can apply the law to a situation, and the situation is, did someone steal a copyright in this case? You need to know all the facts and as many as you can gather. So I wanted to talk to Nick Grillo, who was their manager at the time. And Nick, if you're listening, I'm not going to pay you $10,000 for a 30-minute interview. So he was not very helpful. He could have filled in some information, but luckily I was able to find other times where he had spoken to the media about Manson. But when I found that Greg Jacobson had been in the middle of this relationship and transaction with Dennis Wilson, I tried very hard to find him, but I literally could not find him. But I found this little piece of information that he had worked on on a posthumous CD release of Dennis's, because they had written songs together, and that he had hired the late Taylor Hawkins, who sadly died just a couple of weeks ago.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, I thank Taylor in the book. And the reason is that Taylor worked with him on, I think, 1 or 2 tracks on that Dennis Wilson album as a drummer. And I think they had very, kind of a similar vibe, the two of them as drummers. And were very powerful, confident drummers. So anyway, I called Butch Vig, and I knew Butch would know Taylor because Butch had produced the Foo Fighters couple albums and a documentary with them. So Butch called Taylor Hawkins, and 5 minutes later called me back and said, "Yep, Taylor said, here's his phone number." So after spending probably 3 months looking for this guy, suddenly I, get his phone number in 5 minutes. So I was able to reach out to Greg and learn what this transaction was like. He's the only living witness to what I call Dennis Wilson's deal with the devil. Because I really think that, as you guys were mentioning earlier, that this really did, after Manson killed all those people, it really had a very tough impact on Dennis. And, I think it hurt his soul to have even been involved like that, and to think that the Beach Boys would, which were considered this wonderful Southern California band, to be just suddenly forever linked to this awful person who sort of ruined the vibe of the 1960s. So, I wanted to know, what did this living witness, Greg, have to say about this deal? Was there even a deal? Was it legit? Was it legal? How is it looked at under the copyright law? And at the time, the applicable copyright law had been written in 1909. And so, just to give you an idea, today lawyers, they literally charge by the page. And with, word processing and all of that, contracts, that used to be 1 page are now a book. And the same goes for when Congress passes a law. This 1909 law is maybe 3 pages long, but then the 1976 Act is bigger and bigger, and they all just get bigger. So it just didn't have a lot of detail as to how to apply the law. So I had to speak with federal judge who's an expert on copyright law. And I had to also just go into the whole vibe of why are the Beach Boys and or Dennis Wilson being blamed for Manson's activities? Just like, how can you blame the Beatles for writing a song called Helter Skelter and say, oh, well, that influenced Manson to kill those people? Again, that was a song about a specific carnival type ride they have in England. It's a tower with a little slide that goes all the way down. It's not whatever, crazy racist idea that Manson had for the world, having this awful Armageddon.
Do you, man, I have a couple questions. Matt, do you mind if I
go ahead?
jump in here
this
real quick?
is great. Go ahead. Yeah.
So then you can choose not to answer this because I don't know if it'll give away anything in the book, but let's say hypothetically Charles Manson doesn't kill anybody. He ends up going off and being an accountant for the next 40 years, but then decides to turn around, let's say today or 10 years ago, something like that, and say, hey, I wrote lyrics for that song. Capitol Brothers Records are putting out all this new release Beach Boy material. Right, like I'm talking today, right? He sees that the Beach Boys put out some new stuff from the 2020 era.
Right.
Does he have any ground to stand on to go back and say, hey, I should be paid some money here?
Well, I don't think there's an easy way to answer that without giving away the legal answer to what transpired.
That's fair.
And I would love to tell you, but then, it's sort of like, hey, for all of you tonight who were out to dinner and taped that football game, here's the final score. And how many people will then go and watch that?
Well, hold on. There are like 8 other mysteries in here that we are not disclosing.
I know. But
I'm messing.
I would think that the Beach Boys fans would really enjoy, going through it themselves. And that's the difficulty with talking about any or all of these. But I'll just say this, that copyright law is not all black and white. There is a gray area, and sometimes things aren't covered. And when that happens, judges have to look at all of the factual circumstances and determine what would be fair and equitable for the parties if, let's say, Manson were to bring a lawsuit and say, I wrote Cease to Exist. The Beach Boys turned it into Never Learn Not to Love.
Mm-hmm.
They changed the title. They changed some of the lyrics. They even changed the meaning of the song because Cease to Exist is really one of Manson's, I would call it a recruitment song to convince girls, to join his cult. Whereas Never Learn Not to Love, I viewed it as Dennis Wilson being very romantic and coming on to a girl and trying to get her to like him, by the end of the night or whatever.
Yeah.
And you can see that both in listening to them both and also the lyrics. So the question is did they steal it? Was it purchased properly? Was there a written document? Is it one song or two songs? Or is it just one song that was stolen from Charles Manson? What's interesting is the only person who ever really claimed that the Beach Boys had stolen his song was a psychotic cult guy that was convicted of murder. It wasn't like Walter Cronkite, the big newsman of that era, got on TV and said, "Oh, the Beach Boys shouldn't have done that." So you sort of have to figure that there may be other facts that he left out of his claim.
Well,
and he never even copyrighted or attempted to copyright any of his songs. And I looked for any and all copyrights by Charles Manson, and he wrote a lot of music.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean it's not protected by the statute. And I don't want to get too deep into the law here, but if you just type up some lyrics or you type up a book or something, it's copyrighted, but you don't have the same amount of rights and potential damages if somebody steals it. You still do have some, but you have more rights if you take the time to fill out the one-page form and pay the $35 to the government and copyright it formally.
Yeah, well, my brother and I were laughing about this before the show as we were kind of doing a little bit of show prep, and I mean, it's not good vibrations, right? This song kind of blows, to be honest. I mean, it's not a great song. Like,
you mean Never Learn Not to
yeah,
Love?
it's like
we were kind of saying like, is it a moot point? And not nothing against your book because we talk about it a lot, but
awesome.
Like just laughing like, is it a moot point because it's not like it was a big, huge Beach Boys hit. Like you said, it wasn't good vibrations.
It was a B-side of a single,
right?
And it was just an album track. So most people at the time, me included, I don't think I heard it until the 2020 album came out. I never heard the B-side of it. No one played it on the radio.
That's what you said in your book. Nobody. Can I, Matt? I'm gonna circle back to kind of the beginning of the story. By the way, I love the intro of this section where you talk about Robert Johnson and the Crossroads, and because that's such a mythical thing in rock and roll, and to tie it into this situation it's perfect because it's almost exactly what's unfolding in real time here. I mean, it's kind of the whole Robert Johnson thing I think is really neat.
Thanks. I don't even know, when you're writing, sometimes you don't even know where something comes from. You're just writing and you're like, oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. So
to work.
The one thing I can't seem to figure out, and maybe you can help me, or maybe you can't, maybe we need to read more, but I don't understand. I mean, you have all these people that have an opportunity to tell him to go pound sand, but everyone kind of continues to feed the beast. What I couldn't gather from it, because it seemed like Steve Desper said, no, I didn't track with him, but then he did, like I paid, I paid him.
When you mean track, you mean record him?
Record him. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like I wasn't interested, but then later on he ends up like, it seemed like I guess I want to go, I don't want to give away too much, but what I would like to ask is, was he talented at all? Do you think he had any, or was it just kind of caught up in this whole cultish, like Summer of Love stuff.
Yeah, like a cool hippie kind of
Yeah,
guy.
Yeah, that's a good question. Really good question. First, let me address Jesper, and then we'll go back to was Charlie talented.
yeah.
Jesper ultimately was told by Brother Records, okay, Dennis really wants to give this guy a chance. Dennis has already had Greg Jacobson record some demos, but now he'd like Jesper to record him, and Jesper can't get a better sound. The other Beach Boys, when Charlie was still just this giggly, hippie, phony guru guy, they were just he was just an annoyance. It's like, okay, well, Dennis really is into him. Well, we're all part of this company where any of us is allowed to try to bring someone in, produce them, and potentially sign them to a deal. And you got to remember, Dennis had taken him over to Mama Cass's and introduced him to, I don't know, Neil Young and Stephen Stills and Mamas and the Papas and all these people. And Neil Young also tried to get a record deal for Manson and was turned down by his label. So everybody at the time, you got to remember, it was everybody was just high. It was just that time period.
Yeah.
And now you have all these states with legalized marijuana. I think there were more baby boomers high at that time than there are people getting high today. It just seemed that way. And there were people doing acid and speed and all these other things. So, not everyone was thinking that clearly, but Jesper was told to record him. And at one point during their few days at Brian Wilson's home studio, Manson did pull a knife on him. Manson was very fidgety. He didn't feel comfortable in a studio setting.
Yeah.
He felt comfortable playing to his, flock of women, his harem. He felt comfortable hanging out with other hippies or other musicians, getting high and playing, but he did not do well in any of the studio events that I document in the book. I think I document 3 or 4 different sessions at different times. But he did it, and he then wrote a note, which I think went to Nick Grillo, saying, this guy's not quite ready to be a signed recording artist. And later he told me, I think we had another phone call, and Jesper said, if he had just been patient and try to learn a little more and realize there's more to this and be a little more relaxed in the studio, he maybe could have been an artist that would maybe be signed to do a couple of songs or possibly one album, and that would be about it. But that wasn't Charlie's style. Charlie was pretty high on himself. As to whether I think he was talented, not really. I mean, his guitar style, it looks like, Greg, that you're a guitarist from behind, looking behind you.
Yeah, hack guitarist. Yeah.
Well, you're a great pianist. I saw that earlier tonight. But Charlie Manson basically would pick 2 fat chords, and go back and forth, and forth. And then, as Greg Jacobson described it, he said, it was as if Manson was the first rapper. He would just make stuff up. He would rhyme words, and then he'd play these chords back and forth. And because he was clever enough and able to create these different lyrics right off the top of his head, whereas that was not easy for actual artists to do, I think both Neil Young and Dennis Wilson were very impressed by that.
Yeah.
But again, it's all subjective, but I don't think he was talented enough, based on what I've heard of his recordings, to be signed to a record label.
Yeah.
You mentioned in the book as well a little bit about how the aftermath of this, even to this day, is kind of a black eye, for the Beach Boys' reputation. They're maligned a little bit. Like you said, it goes as far as saying they stole a song, or Dennis was best friends with this guy. After doing your research and everything, do you think I don't want to load the question, but do you think it's unfair? Do you think the Beach Boys reputation, the way it kind of is always going to be stuck with Charles Manson and what he did after, he dealt with the music. Do you think it's unfair that the Beach Boys kind of have that maligned reputation a little bit?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
What I think I go into this towards the end of the chapter, and it's a pretty in-depth, long chapter because a lot of things have to be covered and dealt with. But, Dennis Wilson let Manson and his harem move into his house. While they lived there, he gave them clothing. He gave them gold records. He bought them whatever type of food they wanted. And previously, they were dumpster diving in the back of grocery stores. Mm-hmm. He gave them cash. They always ate well. He paid for all of their healthcare appointments, which were mostly sexually transmitted disease problems. Mm-hmm. And they, two of the male members of Manson's cult crashed his brand new sports car. And so he was very generous. And in fact, when they crashed his car, he's like, oh, okay, well, that's the way it goes. He was very generous with them. And then he paid Greg Jacobson, he paid for the recording time and allowed Manson, a complete unknown, to record demos. Then he bought a song, we think, from Charles Manson, or stole it, depending on what this chapter says.
Got to read the book.
Thanks, everybody. Go out and buy this copy of Mysteries in Music.
And we'll sign it.
There we go.
So we'll get to that later. But, he did that. He, that was apparently the Brothers Inc. came up with a figure that it was about $100,000 he basically gave to the Manson family when they were living with him. He continued to try to help Manson. So, it was when Manson was just a giggly, hippie fake guru. And Dennis took them in and helped them out. And the other Beach Boys weren't directly involved with Manson. In fact, one of the myths that I had found and I dispel in the book is that people say on a lot of these chat forums, oh, well, Carl Wilson was there when Manson recorded at Brian's, or Brian hung out for a while, or Dennis was there the whole time producing him. None of that happened. Desper has cleared that up forever. Mm-hmm. There was no Beach Boy interaction ever with Charles Manson in the studio. But, it's just a crazy thing. And, I don't believe that the Beach Boys should be blamed or pinned with any sort of bad vibes. It was just an honest mistake. It was people who were being generous to them, generous to the family, the family of Manson. And I think it would be unfair. I think it is unfair for history to blame the Beach Boys. And hopefully my chapter helps with their reputation in the future in that regard.
Yeah, it's interesting. We had a couple people kind of caution us about this topic and kind of bringing it up. And I know that from my history as a Beach Boy fan, even in high school, this topic in the Beach Boy community is kind of taboo. And it's like,
it was taboo when I tried to interview a couple of Beach Boys.
Yeah, to me, I understand it because a lot of these folks went through it. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of anxiety there, and I get it. But on the other hand, gosh, I think if we all come to the conclusion that you will at the end of this book that, Dennis was a really great person. Dennis was just trying to be a good person, a helpful person, a charitable person. I would have loved to have heard that, as a Beach Boy fan. Like, why hide that? Why not tell the story so that kids like me in high school that are like, oh, no one in the Beach Boy community is talking about this. Does that mean that there is something here to all these stories and lies and all this kind of stuff? Because then you start to wonder, because none of my Beach Boy fan friends are talking about it and no one's letting us talk about it. So I really appreciate your book because it seems like, and this sounds bad, but I appreciate you because in our Beach Boy community, there seems to be this thing where you're not allowed to talk about it. But in reality, I feel like it should be talked about, because who else is going to set the record straight if not us as huge Beach Boy fans and advocates of their music and Dennis, right? So I really appreciate you doing all this. It's a big deal.
Thanks. I'm much more so a part of the Beatles community. I'm completely embedded in that, just like you guys are in the Beach Boy community. So I think it was easier for me to come at this with a completely open mind. I had no idea what the answers to my questions were. I just knew that I wanted to dig into them and find out as much as I could. And I'm very pleased that it turns out that, in my mind, the Beach Boys did nothing wrong. And they were at the time, or Dennis was at the time trying to encourage basically a homeless guy living out in the desert with a bunch of his girls. He was just trying to help this guy along. And so was Greg Jacobson, and also even Terry Melcher tried to help out, and his efforts were misunderstood by Manson as well. He went out to the Spahn Ranch. Terry Melcher, who, for those listening, produced the Byrds and the Paul Revere and the Raiders, and even Ry Cooder, and was the son of Doris Day. And he went out there and he listened, and Greg Jacobson really wanted him to be out there to see him, and then Greg wanted to make a documentary about the family, and he wanted Terry Melcher to pay for it because Terry had a lot of money. That's right. From Manson's perspective, he said, "This is it. This is another big thing. I'm going to get a record deal." And at the end of the evening, Melcher was very polite and used what a lot of producers say when they're trying to let you down easy.
I love what he says. Yeah.
Your music's very interesting. I just don't know where to place it, how to position your music, which is, it's just a nice way of turning someone down. But then he saw all these people were starving, and he gave Manson, in front of all of them, $50 in cash, which is probably $200 or $300 in today's money. So it could buy a lot of groceries. And Manson went back to them after Terry left and said, "Well, I got my deal. This is the advance." Well, there's no $50 advance in the record industry, even back then. It would have been in the low thousands, maybe. Maybe they would have given him a $5,000 advance, not a $50 bill. And the other thing is that there was nothing in writing, so there was no deal. And these are from the actual sworn transcripts from the trial that I learned that, because Terry Melcher has also died. That's one of the troubles with some mysteries you can't solve, so they can't go into your book because too many people have died and there aren't any people left.
Right. Yeah.
Very
So,
good.
but I'm very positive from tons of research. I mean, I spent at least 3 years on this chapter. Researching it, deep dive, that the Beach Boys, are not at fault at all for anything Manson did, just like the Beatles aren't at fault. Greg Jacobson isn't at fault. Terry Melcher isn't at fault. They all actually tried to do some nice things for him.
Yeah.
But he was just an evil person, and taking too much acid when you've been in prison half of your life, I suppose, turns you into a bad person or a worse person.
Yeah, after reading the chapter, I didn't know how he had been in prison for a long time before even coming, going
like
to
a
San
10-year
Francisco and then LA. It's kind of
I think
like
17 out of 34 years had been spent in prison.
Like you'd think anybody today, when they get out of prison, they've been in prison that long, you might not want to hang out with them, but I guess just different times, right?
At different times now than back then. But still, there are people that reform themselves after prison and can be trusted. But you have to take everybody, I think, one at a time.
And I think you make a good point in your book. This is more of an observation than a question, but you talked about at the time when Dennis met Charlie, he was going through some tough times personally, and searching for something and doing some drugs. And of course, reading that helped me as well, because you can understand the allure of somebody like that who like you said, is a cultish figure or a guru,
Mhm.
and things like that. So that made a lot of sense to me too, how that all kind of, like, he was very vulnerable at the time, and they
Well, and
totally
Right.
took advantage of him,
Jim, you connected in the book nicely because before that you talk about his time with the Maharishi, and how
Yeah,
that
that's right.
that didn't work out. So he was in a time in his life where he was searching for
Right.
something, and just
Meaning.
wrong place,
Yes.
wrong time, or right place, right time, depending on the way
Right.
you look at that circumstance. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he went from a happy Maharishi guru to Charles Manson as a guru, and it's just unfortunate. It's what I found was that each of them at that time when they happened to come together, when after Dennis picked up two girls at the crossroads, they each had needs that the other could perhaps help them with. Charlie figured out that he could do a better job of recruiting by writing songs, and then if he got signed to a record label, he felt he could really up his game and create an even bigger family, which I call a cult, by getting the word out on the radio and whatnot, give up your ego, come to me, cease to exist, all that kind of stuff.
right.
At the same time, and you guys know this, I'm sure, that around the time of 2020, Brian Wilson was having mental health issues. He had done acid, and he was spending a lot of time in his bedroom. And so the other Beach Boys realized they all had to pick it up and each contribute some songs to that 2020 album. And being a drummer is not the easiest place to be if you don't play other instruments like guitar, piano, to suddenly learn how to write a song that could be on your band's album.
Yeah.
So I think he was impressed by the ease with which Manson was, coming up with words and playing notes, and Manson taught him a little bit of guitar. And I think they both sort of needed each other for different purposes, and it just was an unfortunate thing that Manson turned out to be this horrible person.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Silver lining for me in this book, and maybe get one more question. Do you mind if we take a couple questions from our chat? Is that okay?
Sure, absolutely. I thought it was really cool, all those people commenting as you guys are talking and playing and stuff. I love that.
Yeah, the live streaming platform has been really fun for us because it's like it kind of just get to hang out with people and they chat. And there's actually been some really awesome comments so far.
Yeah, there has. Yep.
Silver lining for us, I know, and I hope everybody gets this when they do buy the book. It provides a lot more context, and Dennis's work after this point, his songs, Pacific Ocean Blue, all of these, his work with the Beach Boys, it takes on a completely different listen after reading his experiences in this, and that's, I mean, the mysteries and the kind of the true crime type thing aside, just from a musical standpoint, the music sounds different now because you've added this really interesting historical perspective that I didn't have previously. So just kudos to you on writing this. And this is one of many mysteries in here. We talked about Louie Louie. We talked about Elvis, and there's some really, really, really neat stuff.
Mass Marauders.
The Mass Marauders. I read that one.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that before. So
yeah, that was really neat.
That's pretty cool.
So, Chad, if you have some questions for Jim, you can put them in there now. I'm sure he'll answer what he can, as long as it doesn't give away.
I don't have that chat in front of me now.
We'll
read
ask.
them to you.
We'll read it to you.
And Jim, while we're looking for some, can you tell everybody where they can get your book?
Perfect.
Absolutely. If you want a signed copy, you can go to my book site, which should be easy to remember. I'm
going to put it in the chat.
Yeah. Okay. musicmysterybook.com. www.musicmysterybook.com. If you don't need my signature, then go straight to Amazon. It's there. And it's an Amazon bestseller. And in fact, I'm in the process of pitching it in Hollywood as a TV docuseries. It would be the starting point.
Oh, that would be great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm working with another producer and a friend of mine, Paul Barros, who produced many of the VH1 Behind the Music series.
Oh, cool.
Very good.
Yeah, great guy.
Oh, that is awesome. I love that. Yeah, Janice asks, is this book available in bookstores?
It is, but probably it's not. It's probably not sitting on any bookstore shelves. That's kind of the way, unless you're with Simon and Schuster and you have all that kind of backing. You can go to any bookstore in the country and give them the title of the book, Mysteries in the Music, Case Closed, and they'll order the book for you if you like to go to your local bookstore.
And we're going to give one away to a lucky viewer.
We are going to give one away tonight, so we're excited about that. Owen wants to know, hey, who would play Dennis in the series? Do you have any actors in mind for who would play the role of Dennis?
Well, it's a docu-series, which means that we would use actual footage of Dennis Wilson.
Oh, cool.
Narration, and there'd be clips of him, photos of him, etc. So it wouldn't be. It's not like The Beatle Who Vanished, which is an actual movie drama. This would be a documentary type TV style.
Very good.
Our friend Denise, our very good friend Denise, has a question for you, Jim. It says, Jim, is there any truth to the story about the Manson girls stalking Dennis and even broke into their home while Dennis and Barbara were sleeping? Did you ever hear about that?
I think there were examples where they did that and did that at other famous people's homes. They just would walk around. They might sort of move something to let you know they had been there. They did that a lot, and I think they did it to Dennis. I'm not 100% sure because it's not an area that I needed to really dig into to do the chapter. But I do know that he did come over when he was getting angry and he was desperate for more money and kept bringing up the song. He came over one day when Dennis was on tour and Greg Jacobson was there, and he handed him a bullet and said, give this to Dennis because he owes me money. Then later I document in the book that he actually waited. Dennis came back from tour and he gave him the same thing. Here's the bullet.
Great story.
And he said, I know where your son lives.
Crazy.
And Dennis, who's such a peaceful guy from my, research, just decked him, just pummeled him to the ground.
Awesome.
So probably didn't know he was a crazy murderer yet, but you know what? I was really happy to see that he did that.
Yeah, how cool! I loved reading that. I thought that was that was.
I asked Greg Jacobson, "Did you keep the bullet Manson gave you?" And he said, "No, man, that was bad karma."
Oh, bad juju. Yeah, get that out of there. Get that out of there. Well, Jim, what an honor to have you on. Really, I mean, we have to pinch ourselves when we get to talk with the incredible people we do, and you are one of them, my friend. Thank you for joining us. We are going to give away a copy of this book as soon as we let you go here. And folks, go buy this, okay? This is an awesome book. If you, like I said, Dennis's music takes on a completely different perspective after reading some of these stories. It's such a well-written, and there's a lot of other really neat rock and roll mysteries in here. But rock and roll detective, Jim Birkenstadt, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you coming on and chatting with us tonight.
Thanks a lot, guys. I really enjoyed it. It was a real honor for me, too, to come on to your show. I have one mystery left I'd like you to answer, Greg, and that is there a Beach Boys connection to that? It looks like a giraffe hat you're wearing. I've been wondering all night.
Yeah, so really early on, Matt and I, we were going to do early on, I'll try and answer this quickly. Early on, we thought it would be funny that if we did album shows where, today we're going to talk about the Beach Boys Today album or different albums. And I thought it'd be funny to wear a hat that had something to do with the album. So like on the Smile, when we talked with, who was it, Matt? When we talked about the Smile record, I had a fireman's hat.
I think,
So we were going to originally we were going to do a Pet Sound show. And so Pet Sound's the giraffe, San Diego Zoo. And then I just never stopped wearing it because I thought it was pretty cool. It's stupid.
And we didn't do the episode either.
I don't look great. I don't know. Hey, anything.
I love it.
The more I can hide what's going on everywhere up here, the better. So I'm all about it.
And we decided not to do a Pet Sound show because we were like, I don't think we're ready for that yet. That's the one that's most researched and everything. We didn't want to sound too dumb. So we skipped it.
It's a good one. No good reason at all.
I love it. I love your show and I love that hat, and I'm glad that you solved the last Beach Boy mystery tonight.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you so much. An honor.
Hey, best of luck. Okay, take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Claire said Greg would look. I can't read. Would look weird without the hat.
I know it's like it would be. I'd be weird doing the show if I didn't. You know, I thought about that. Should I buy a second hat just in case? You know, like a backup. Guys, thank you. A lot of thank yous go to you tonight. And number one is we're really sorry about the technical issues early on. I have no idea what happened, but we completely disconnected. We have audio issues, so we're going to blame it on the storms, but we can't thank you enough for sticking with us. It really means a lot. I love our group. I love everybody out there, all of our friends that join us every week. It's a big deal. I want to thank Jim for coming on, and what an honor to have him on. It's a really great book, guys. If you like rock and roll, especially being Beach Boy fans, check this out. There's some really neat stories in here.
And I thought that interview went really well regarding Dennis, because I think I can speak for you to say we were pretty nervous about kind of coming into the subject. We were doing it respectfully, and everything.
We were back and forth about even talking about it. It was tough.
But I thought he was great, and I felt like he did give some information, although he did leave you with some cliffhangers. You need to get the book, and Greg, we're going to give one away, correct?
We are going to give one away. So Matt,
right.
Why don't can you go through where to buy the book again, how everybody gets hold of it, and I will. Oh, by the way, if you'd like to win the book, so I need to stop. I don't want to give away things that people have or don't want. So if you would like to win a copy, I need you to type a number 1 in the chat right now. So
yes.
you have some time to type a number 1 in the chat.
And if you're interested in a signed copy, you can go to musicmystery.com. And then, of course, if you don't want a signed copy by the author, Amazon's your best bet. He said you might have trouble finding it in a bookstore on the shelves. So Amazon. But I'm telling you, I've read about 80% of this. I couldn't get through the whole thing because of time, but it's very good, very interesting. See Matthew, Eddie, Owen, Don, with some ones in the chat.
Oh, we got a lot of people that want one. Okay, perfect.
Got some
good,
nice
good.
pictures in here too.
The pictures in
lots
here.
Of ones.
The pictures in here, Matt, maybe that's something we don't give away. The pictures in here are cool. There's okay, the ones of Charlie are kind of crazy. There was one picture in here that I thought was really neat too. Where is it?
Yeah, it's pretty neat, and I do appreciate. He said, I thought it was pretty amazing. He said he researched this for 3 years, and so he definitely did his. Oh, thank you, Jim. Musicmysterybook.com. I said music mystery. Thank you. Sorry. Jim's in the chat with us. I saw Don say a little bit earlier too, and Greg and I are lucky to have copies of the 2020 album because of our friend Michael. But, Greg, after doing this interview too and thinking about the history of that song, it's kind of neat to have that, that vinyl as a piece of history.
It is. And I can't stress this enough. Like talking about the Charles Manson stuff only made me appreciate Dennis more and appreciate what he went through. And I think as a Beach Boy fan, I think you're kind of cheating yourself a little bit of not kind of doing a little bit of digging on this and reading about the history behind that time period.
Yeah.
Because Dennis makes a little bit more sense after that, that he just kind of spiraled and felt really guilty about all of this. And I think you can really hear it in his music. Maybe maybe that's just me personally, but I thought it was important to understand what happened, and it makes the listening experience that much more, immersive. But,
yes.
All right, Matt, I have a winner. I picked one.
All right, let's do it.
I picked one.
I get to win this awesome book.
Our winner this week of Mysteries in Music by the Rock and Roll Detective, who was our guest tonight, Jim Birkenstadt, is... I got to go back in. Diane Bennett Diaz. Diane, are you here?
All right, Diane, are you there? Let us know you're there in the chat, Diane.
In the chat, my Diane. Oh, you just won the book.
The book.
You have won the book, my Diane. She's here! Yay!
All right, Diane.
Congratulations to Diane! Awesome.
All right.
Diane, do us a favor. Send us a message via Facebook or email beachboystalk@gmail.com and send us your information, and we would love to send you this book signed by me over Jim's name on the book, so that way you know it's from me. I'm just kidding.
Cross out Jim's name and put your name here.
Cross out Jim. I'll cross out Jim's and put Greg, and I'll put.
You know what? I want to
Rock
get
and Roll
Jim's book
Detective.
on that guy that played the Beatles tour for just a little while.
Oh
That sounds
yeah,
awesome.
how cool was that? Yeah, I would love.
sounds amazing.
What did you say the name of that
I want
book
to shoot
was?
the name of that book again. That was called where is it? It's called The Beatle Who Vanished. So make
The
sure you
Beatle
check
Who
out that book,
Vanished.
too.
Yeah.
I want to read that one. So anyway, very good. Congratulations and thanks everybody for staying with us tonight.
Matt, can we do a couple Dennis songs?
Let's
Just
do
because
it.
I
Go
love
ahead.
Dennis, and my heart hurts after reading this. You know, the things he went through and how he felt. I feel so bad? Of course you feel guilty, right? I mean, that would be so tough.
Yeah,
Unimaginable pain.
I already had read this, but Jim says in his book too that Dennis wouldn't even testify. He was so
shook up.
kind
Yeah.
of shocked about what happened and shook
Yeah.
up. Yeah. So
Such a bummer, man. That is, and it makes these songs. It makes listening to them that much more, I don't know, raw and tough, because you hear.
Oh, thank you.
You
And
hear
Jim put it in the chat.
you hear
Sorry,
his
he put
voice.
the-
Oh, hey, Jim's in the chat. All right, awesome.
he put
Everybody,
the Beatles
yeah.
vanish.com.
Yeah, I love it. Yep. Jeff wants to know if there's any midgets on here. I'm not sure what that means.
Aren't they little people? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that's. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean.
Greg, you know what I would love to hear?
Yeah, buddy.
Don gave a good one. Angel Come Home.
Yeah.
But I think I'd love to hear his last. I don't know if it was his last recorded song, but it's his last one on an album for the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
On the L.A. Light album, which was Baby Blue. I think
Yeah,
that'd be a
let's
nice
do
one.
Angel Come Home. I really like that song.
Written by Carl, sung by Dennis. Great tune. Bobby Figueroa, our friend on the drums.
All right, let's do this. I gotta pull up the lyrics so I don't mess this up. Now the puzzle's laid out on the table, the pieces don't fit. I move from chair to chair, with bed empty ones there where she used to sit. I'm sitting here going out of my mind, 'cause she's gone away. She couldn't wait, now I'm afraid it's too late. I'm waiting till my angel comes home. It's been hell being here alone. Angel, angel, come home. Angel, come home. If you see it, tell my angel, come home. Ooh, angel, come home. Does she remember that I can't forget? No, I regret.
Peter.
She never told. I'm not even looking. I wanted to hold her, but just let her go.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to kill the vibe.
Dang it, Pete. Where is he? Did he write something?
Yeah, he wrote Matt is hot. That's my brother, by the way.
Having brothers sucks. Try to do something serious. Dang it.
My bad.
I never told her go closer together by being apart. When my angel comes home, it's been hell being here alone. God, tell me, why has she flown so far away? So stay another day. I'll be in heaven when my angel comes home. Please come home. Angel, come home. If I'm gonna punch you in the face when I see you on Saturday. I'm sorry, everybody. That's my little brother trying to be funny in the chat and ruined. I mean, I didn't do a good job. All right, what else?
No.
What else should we? What else should we do?
Song?
One more song. Let's
How
do
about Baby Blue.
Baby
Yeah.
Blue, and then we're gonna end the night here.
Yes, and we before we do, thank you, Don. We are taking a break next week.
We are off next week.
We'll
Oh,
be
by the
back
way, hey,
next
if
week.
anybody's in Florida, where should we? Naples, Florida. We're going to Naples, Florida. I'm going on vacation. If anybody is down there and can tell me some good spots to go in Naples, Florida. It's a good spot. Pete, stop. Get out of the chat. Stop.
ban him.
How do we? I can't. I don't know what platform he's on. I will ban you. If anybody that lives in Naples, Florida, or knows Florida, tell me where to go. Tell me where to go in Florida. So, any good places to eat? Anybody recommend anything? Let's do Baby Blue. Punch him so hard. There we go. Lying alone in bed at night, feel the pull of a lonely day. Thoughts like music start to play. I wonder where you were today. Close to you, I feel your sweet heart beating. I dream of you. Ooh, my, ooh, my, baby, baby blue. All those songs to me, it just, I don't know. It's like it's such a bummer reading all that about Dennis.
It's
and
really like
what he went through.
It's a love song, but it's like very melancholy. You know, the chords are, and his voice when he sings always chokes me up because it's gone. You know, he's got that real raspy. Like it's from the years of the roughness, and that, you know, a lot of that probably came from his affiliation with Charles Manson.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. You wonder. It's so sad, but it makes you appreciate Dennis even more as a person, makes you appreciate what he was still able to accomplish as a person, as a musician after that.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, if I had gone through that, nobody would blame you for kind of packing it in and just being like, I can't do this anymore. But he continued to tour, he continued to write, produce, put out solo records.
Had to live with that the rest of his life.
Yeah,
what a burden, you know.
Yeah, but that shows you once again. I think it really speaks to his character, being able to overcome that and still provide us with a ton of great music. So
Yep. No
big
doubt.
thanks again to our guests. Guys, thank you for putting up with us tonight. A lot of stuff going on. My little brother, we got the internet cutting in and out, storms.
You know what, Greg? I thought I was going to lose it. It was hailing like crazy and
Really?
thunder in here. But one more look at this, everybody.
Well,
Jim
stay safe, everybody. Make sure
Rock and roll
everybody,
detective, yep.
everybody. Don says, Greg, hit the beaches at Sand Key. All right, Sand Key. I got to remember Sand Key.
Get that book, everybody. It's good
Yeah,
stuff.
everybody, please go out. Let's support everybody that comes on our show as much as we can. If you don't mind purchasing this book, you will not be disappointed helping spread the word of this awesome book. But we love you all very much. Thank you again
Thank you all very much
for joining
Brother
us.
Greg.
It really means a lot. Matt, good seeing you. I love you. I'll see you.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
See you this weekend. It'll be really fun. We'll do it again. But good night, everybody. We love you. See you in 2 weeks.
Beach boys, beach boys. We're talking beach boys, beach boys.